NFL preseason winners and losers. Shedeur Sanders stands out, Milton misfires. Anyone hoping to have their appetite for football whetted by the first week of NFL preseason games likely emerged from the action still experiencing some hunger pangs. Swaths of starters sat throughout the league in week 1 of the exhibition slate, and many of the key figures who did take the field only stayed in for a drive or two before giving way to backups and long-shot roster hopefuls. But viewers who properly scaled back any expectations still could scavenge some meaningful morsels from young players. The week was not without its notable storylines, with top picks Cam Ward and Travis Hunter both making their unofficial professional debuts. Yet just as was the case in April, Shedeur Sanders seemingly eclipsed all of his peers when it came to commanding attention, and the passer delivered more than enough fodder for several days of discussion. Shedeur Sanders. The Cleveland Browns quarterback's performance should be accompanied by the proper caveats. Operating alongside other backups against the second stringers for the NFL's worst scoring defense in 2024, Sanders still isn't a threat to burst from the back of the Browns' quarterback competition to the front as a potential Week 1 starter. But capitalizing on his most extensive action of the summer should be categorized as an unquestioned victory for the 5th-round signal caller from Colorado, who flashed plenty of reminders of his accuracy, touch and overall command by leading 3 touchdown drives and completing 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Carolina Panthers. Sanders gave himself a C+ for his outing afterward, acknowledging a continued need for improvement in the face of pressure by speeding up his process. But even though a starting spot any time early in the fall is likely out of reach, he has renewed relevance in the quarterback room and gave Cleveland strong incentive to keep giving him looks in both the rest of the summer and down the stretch of his rookie season. The first full weekend of NFL preseason action brought plenty of talking points, from rookies flashing potential to veterans raising concerns. Every August, fans and analysts alike scour the exhibition games for clues about what's to come in September, knowing full well that preseason results can be deceptive. Still, certain performances are impossible to ignore. One such performance belonged to Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who took his first step toward proving he belongs in the league. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Tennessee Titans rookie Milton struggled to get anything going, raising early questions about his readiness. Here's a closer look at some of the biggest winners and losers from this week's preseason slate. Winner: Shedeur Sanders, QB, Cleveland Browns. Sometimes you can just tell a player is built for the big stage. That's the vibe Shedeur Sanders gave off in his first preseason appearance. The rookie stepped under center against the Carolina Panthers and looked calm, confident, and completely unfazed by the NFL spotlight. Sanders finished the night with a stat line that should turn heads: 14 of 18 passing for 165 yards and a touchdown, plus a handful of throws that showed next-level touch and anticipation. Even more impressive was his pocket presence, something that often trips up young quarterbacks when facing pro-level pass rushers. After the game, veteran Browns defensive end Myles Garrett praised Sanders' poise, saying, "You can see he prepares like a pro. Nothing seemed too big for him out there." While one strong preseason game doesn't guarantee future stardom, it does set a foundation. And for Cleveland, where quarterback stability has been elusive, Sanders' debut offers something rare: genuine optimism. Loser: Milton, QB, Tennessee Titans. On the flip side, Milton's preseason opener was a stark reminder of the challenges that come with transitioning from college to the pros. Known for his rocket arm, Milton entered the game with expectations that he could push for the Titans' backup role. Instead, he delivered a forgettable performance, completing just 5 of 13 passes for 48 yards, with multiple misfires that sailed well over his receivers' heads. It wasn't just accuracy that was an issue. Milton also struggled with decision-making, holding onto the ball too long and taking unnecessary sacks. Titans head coach Brian Callahan defended his rookie afterward, noting that the game's going to slow down for him over time. But even he couldn't hide his disappointment in the offense's lack of rhythm. Milton has the physical tools to succeed, but the gap between potential and production was glaring this weekend. Winner: Tank Dell, WR, Houston Texans. Second-year receiver Tank Dell picked up right where he left off before last season's injury. The Texans' dynamic playmaker hauled in 5 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown, consistently creating separation and making defenders miss in the open field. With quarterback C.J. Stroud looking more comfortable in his sophomore campaign, Dell could be in for a breakout year. His chemistry with Stroud was obvious, and if the Texans' offense continues to trend upward, Dell could quickly become one of the AFC's most dangerous slot weapons. Loser, New York Giants offensive line. Daniel Jones didn't play, but if he had, he might have been running for his life. The Giants' offensive line was overwhelmed against the Lions' defensive front, giving up 4 sacks in just the first half. Rookie lineman Evan Neal, in particular, had a rough outing, losing multiple one-on-one battles. For a team that invested heavily in improving its protection this offseason, this performance was troubling. Preseason or not, offensive line cohesion is critical, and the Giants looked far from ready. Winner, Dallas Cowboys rookie defense. If you're looking for a unit that came out with something to prove, it's the Cowboys rookie defensive class. First-round pick Motzie Smith clogged running lanes all night, while linebacker DeMarvion Overshown made plays sideline to sideline. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn was visibly fired up after a second-quarter goal line stand that saw 3 rookies involved in the stop. The Cowboys are already loaded on defense, but if these rookies continue to shine, Dallas might have the deepest defensive rotation in the league. Loser, Las Vegas Raiders quarterback depth. The Raiders sat presumed starter Aiden O'Connell, giving the backup candidates a chance to prove themselves, but none capitalized. Veteran Brian Hoyer looked out of sync, and rookie Carter Bradley failed to push the ball downfield effectively. While this might not seem urgent, preseason is when you need to identify a reliable insurance policy at quarterback. Right now, Las Vegas doesn't appear to have one. Winner, Shedeur Sanders' growing fan base. Beyond the box score, Sanders' debut ignited buzz not just in Cleveland, but across the NFL. Social media lit up with clips of his best throws, and even a few opposing fans admitted they were impressed. Part of the intrigue comes from his high-profile college career under his father, Deion Coach Prime Sanders, but his performance proved he's more than just a famous name. If he can sustain this level of play, the Browns may have found themselves a franchise-altering player, and Sanders might just silence the skeptics who questioned whether he was ready for the league.